Hey everybody, Rick Steele here with another betting tips video for you. As mentioned through the social media platforms of Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, this betting tips video is going to deal with how to handicap the individual games in college basketball for March Madness. And I'm going to give you specific strategies as well, as I'm asked every year, to help me fill out my bracket, help me win my pool. So we'll help and try and accomplish that goal as well. A few housekeeping duties initially. If you haven't already done so, I would highly ask of you, it's the only thing I ever ask for from a support standpoint, and that is if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, PSH Sports Picks, and for your own benefit, also turn on the notifications. That will give you an alert each and every time I post a new video. My goal in producing these videos, this content, is obviously about money for you, put you on a few more winners, help you to avoid some losers, but more importantly, provide you with tools and techniques to handicap games for yourself, psychologically learn more about sports betting and what it takes to be successful, and that way, long term, it will add to your bottom line and make you a profitable sports bettor. Again, hit the subscribe button. I thank you in advance. And you can also like and comment on any of the videos here on the YouTube channel as well. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you want to follow me? That's at RickSteele99. You can send me any questions that you have through those platforms. And you'll also get the latest sports betting news in a timely fashion. Turn on the notifications there. You'll be alerted each and every time I update the site with new picks. They're always free. They'll always be free. There's no gimmicks, no signups, and total transparency. My records are updated, broken down by sport on a daily basis. Okay, let's get to the task at hand, and that will deal with handicapping March Madness. Now, filling out a bracket is obviously a different beast than handicapping individual games with point spreads attached to them. So remember, it's March Madness, yes, and just like I always talk to you about in relation to the Super Bowl and high-profile events, it's okay to pass on games. March Madness is fantastic from a viewing standpoint. It's exciting, but remain vigilant. Only bet value. If you want action on a game and it's really just a coin toss, but you're compelled, okay, put some pizza money on it. Very small number, very small amount if it's strictly a coin flip and you haven't isolated enough value in that event. I don't even do that. I only bet on value. I'll watch the game, yes, for future betting opportunities. But again, if you're compelled to have to bet a high-profile event and there's no value on it, a little bit of pizza money won't do any harm if you must. Now, forget about the conference tournaments that are underway or have just finished. March Madness is also a different animal. There's no carryover of momentum for teams that performed well in those tournaments. In fact, some coaches could care less about those tournaments and strictly focus on getting their teams ready for the big dance anyway. Don't ignore the other tournaments that are there. You're also going to find a lot of value in NIT games, for example, those secondary tournaments. Also exciting betting opportunities there. It doesn't just have to be about the big dance. Now, March Madness games theoretically are played on neutral courts, or are they, right? You want to look for teams that are playing close to home, where their fans can easily get to the games. And you also want to look for individual players that are playing close to home from their general area where they may have went to high school. You're going to get some extra effort from those individuals as well. Free throw shooting is what wins and covers spreads. So you want to look for teams that have a decided advantage in free throw shooting percentage. How often have you found where you're on a favorite, as an example, and they're missing foul shots through the end of the last 1 to 2 minutes, and they end up winning the game but they don't end up covering the spread. So focus on that. Take a look at that when you're handicapping. In all sports, as we know, defense wins championships. Look for underdogs who play great defense and are up against flashy offensive teams. The offense is what attracts the public money to those teams. It's the defense which is going to put money in your pocket. Now, teams that were overvalued or undervalued heading into the tournament tend to stay that way. So don't get caught up in the hype of the seedings. We're sports bettors. Our concern is the spread itself, not 11 versus 6 or, a 13 or a 12 playing a 1. Could care less about that. Focus on the spread. See if you can find value, especially these days when there's more parity in college basketball than ever before. The public is, as usual, going to gravitate towards favorites, big name schools, and overs. And as we know, in the marketplace during this time period, there's a lot of money that was never placed, or people that have bet on college basketball all year, and then they dip the toe into it in a big way because it's March Madness. So try and take a look at that as well, because it could create some additional value. Okay, let's talk in our next topic, and that has to do with tips for winning your pool. Okay, brackets, pools for the tournament. Not only does it provide great opportunities for betting opportunities as far as March Madness, but one thing that regular followers will know, what I get most excited for each and every year is the beginning of the MLB season, which is right around the corner. And we're going to have a betting tips video that will go up within the next week as well. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, as I mentioned, and you'll get the MLB tips as far as how to prepare for that upcoming season, and also all the rule changes that have taken place. Foreshadowing, as I've been watching and betting spring training, actually, I try to keep an open mind, and I'm not that opposed and pleasantly surprised with the rule changes and how they are being implemented as far as MLB. But we'll get more into that on the next betting tips video. Okay, the most obvious statement as well as far as filling out your bracket and pool is that you want to pick the eventual champion. That's where you start. You start at the end of your bracket and then work backwards. Most pools are weighted to the Elite 8 and beyond. If you focus so much on the early games and not enough of your teams have survived to the later rounds when the majority of points are earned, you'll have no chance for success. And as I mentioned, even though this sounds like a contradiction, yes, there is more parity than ever before, and that deals with picking big dogs to at least cover games. But it's a different animal again when you're filling out your pool, because now we're dealing with just straight up winners. And even though we hear about these smaller schools, underdogs that are doing a minor run through the tournament in the early rounds, the majority of teams, the major upsets that get publicity, yes, but the reality is 86% over the last 25 years, actually, champions have been a number 1 or a number 2 seed. Last comment I want to make. If you're in a very big pool, then you want to take more chances to differentiate yourself from the pack. If you're in a smaller pool, you can be a little more conservative and let your opponents make the mistakes themselves. As I mentioned, feel free to like and comment on any of the videos that I have here on PSH Sports Picks YouTube channel. Feel free to shoot me any questions that you have over the YouTube channel or through social media. Let the madness begin. Best of luck in the games and your pool, and baseball being around the corner as well. May all the winners be yours.